What is IMOP? Integrated Marketing Operations Platform. IMOP is a tool where a marketer can create an AOP campaign, request for creation of new vendors with the help of marketing ops, assign a BRF against the AOP campaign, upload quotation within the tool, check the status of the PR or PO or payments involved in the BRF process, upload invoices of the vendors, and also check reports relating to their verticals. Let's look at the steps involved in an IMOP tool. AOP Planner, where a campaign can be defined. Raise a BRF, Budget Requisition Form. Pending approvals at VP or Marketing Ops end. New vendor creation. PR or PO or Payments module. Reporting. AOP Planner. An AOP Planner is the repository of campaigns saved by marketing managers for a financial year. An AOP campaign can be created for the financial year, April to March, and the budget can be inserted into the required fields. AOP consists of different fields starting with the campaign name, country, demand gen or non-demand gen, financial year, and vertical. The verticals have been defined with ceiling limits individually so that an AOP cannot cross the ceiling defined. The next step is to insert the budget for the financial year, April to March. The budget is defined in USD. Once the budget has been inserted, the system will show you the total campaign budgeted, budget spent, and the remaining budget. This will come to use once a BRF has been created against a campaign. The next step is to fill in the metrics and target fields. This will help identify your targets and successfully complete the creation of the AOP campaign. Once the AOP campaign has been successfully created, we can move ahead with creating a BRF, Budget Requisition Form. BRF, Budget Requisition Form. BRF is the repository of budget requests logged by different marketing teams based on the activities for a financial year. This can also be spread across the next financial years when an activity is proposed for more than one financial year, but cannot be used for the past financial year. Any of the past financial year's expenditures which have not been raised will have to go from the current financial year's budget. This would also attract approvals from the CMO and CFO. BRF form is divided into 3 sections as stated below. Campaign header details, activity vendor details, comments or approvals. Campaign header details. Once you land on this form, it will by default capture the name and email ID of the person using the form. On selection of the financial year and the relevant campaign names, the name of the vice president will auto-populate. Other fields like campaign description, SFDC campaign code, region, etc. will need to be inserted or selected. The approximate percentage breakup of this campaign on various business segments or lines of business and regions should sum up to 100% in total. Note that if the chosen campaign name is incorrect, one needs to drop the BRF, as the campaign name cannot be edited again post-submission. Activity vendor details. Once we start filling in the activity details, we will need to first choose the cost center, which will populate based on the VP associated with the campaign. Moving on to currency, the local currency in which you have engaged with the vendor should be chosen. Similarly, the GL code against the activity should be chosen. The activity name and description should be mentioned in the required fields. The campaign budgeted field shows the budget of the campaign from the AOP. The unbooked spend shows the available budget for the campaign to create an activity against that campaign. The budget for the activity can be requested in the field Activity Budget Requested. Once a budget has been requested, the amount will also be converted in USD under the row Activity Budget Requested based on the AOP rates. The end date must be greater than or equal to the start date, else the system will not accept the BRF. Choosing the GPP, Global Procurement Policy, is important, yes or no, as this would decide the number of vendors based on the budget requested, where a marketer would need to get proposals or quotations from one vendor, two vendors, or three vendors. The GPP is based on the below structure. Threshold level Procurement India, lesser than 200,000 INR. Minimum number of quotes, 1. Greater than 200,000 and lesser than 1 million INR. Minimum number of quotes, 2. Greater than 1 million INR. Minimum number of quotes, 3. Threshold level procurement, rest of the world, lesser than 20,000 USD. Minimum number of quotes, 1. Greater than 20,000 USD and lesser than 50,000 USD. Minimum number of quotes, 2. Greater than 50,000 USD. Minimum number of quotes, 3. Note: should have quotes for services lesser than 20,000 USD and should be signed by both parties if greater than or equal to 20,000 USD. Pre-signed or approved for contracts or agreements if the value exceeds 75,000 USD. The number of quotations required is dependent on transaction amount and currency, as defined in Global Procurement Policy, GPP. If you are not following GPP and choosing No, then the marketer would need to justify the reason from the drop-down provided. If you are following GPP and choosing Yes, then the marketer would need to provide quotations or proposals based on the threshold limits provided for India or rest of the world. If GPP is chosen as Yes, and if there are 2 or 3 vendors based on the threshold limit provided, the marketer would also need to provide a vendor comparison document for choosing a preferred vendor. In the vendor details, the vendor needs to be selected and the preferred vendor checkbox needs to be enabled. On submission of the form, if the marketing manager has not submitted the documents, he will get a pop-up confirmation that all documents have not been submitted. After the above details have been filled in, the marketer can save the activity for the BRF and move ahead to the next step, where he can write his comments in the comments section. Now you can either save the BRF or submit the BRF for VP approval. When the BRF is submitted to the VP for approval, the VP would receive an email notification of the same. The marketer can also drop the BRF. When the BRF is dropped, the budget requested will be added back to the campaign of the AOP, which is related to the BRF. Some BRFs may require CMO approvals depending on GPP, greater than or equal to 500,000 USD. The process would accordingly loop in the necessary functions and send them notifications for approval. Pending approvals at VP or Marketing Ops end. When BRF has been submitted by the marketing manager, the VP can either approve or raise a query on the activities. If the VP raises a query, the BRF would come back to the marketing manager to clarify the query. If the VP approves, the BRF would move to the marketing ops for approval. Here, the marketing manager would receive an email that the BRF has been approved, and the marketing ops would receive an email asking for further approval on the BRF. The marketing ops can also raise a query on the activity, and this would come back to the marketing manager to clarify the marketing ops query. If a marketing manager makes a change when a query is raised by the VP or the marketing ops in the currency, amount, date, or the vendor section, the BRF would go back to the VP for approval and then moves to the marketing ops for their approval. corresponding emails are exchanged at each stage. New vendor details. Marketing Manager has the provision to add new vendors on the IMOP landing page. There is a link for the marketing managers to add records for new vendors in India or rest of the world in the vendor master list with attachments. Depending on the selection of the above options, corresponding fields would be shown to upload the supporting documents for the new vendor. When a marketing manager adds a new vendor, the marketing ops will receive a notification via email to add a vendor code and approve or reject the new vendor. Once the marketing ops gets the vendor code created, the new vendor will get added to the vendor list. If there is any correction, marketing ops will manually send an email and request the marketing manager or corresponding team to update the vendor with proper documents. PR, PO, or Payment Module. The PR/PO Payments Module is a repository for purchase requests, purchase orders, and payments made. When a BRF is approved by the marketing ops, the activity amount for the BRF is logged in the PR or PO or Payments Module. Here, the marketing ops will insert the PR and PO number followed by the relevant approvals. The marketing manager will receive an email notification once the PR and PO number have been entered. The PR/PO Payments Module screen shows a complete listing of the BRF budget requested, along with each of its activities and payment information. Here, it is observed the PO amount is mentioned in the currency requested in the BRF. The payment status is determined by the SRN columns. Each activity is accompanied by an SRN pending indicator that is initially red in color. This changes to green once the marketing ops enters the PR number followed by the approvals of VP, DFM, and commercial, and also enters the PO number along with the PO document. After the approvals and allotment of PR and PO numbers, the marketing manager adds the invoice number and amount to be paid along with relevant invoice document from his PR or PO or Payments Module screen. Please note, the marketing manager can add only a maximum of 24 invoices for an activity budget request. Once the invoice has been added by the marketing manager, an email notification is sent to the marketing ops. The invoice amount uploaded by the marketing manager now moves to the Pending SRN tab, while the Pending Invoices tab displays the remaining budget to be paid to vendors based on PO amount declared in the activity budget. Pending SRN lists the amount to be paid to vendor, while the Paid SRN displays the amount paid so far. The indicator turns red once the MM has uploaded and submitted the invoice details, allowing the marketing ops to move further. The marketing ops will process the invoice and the SRN indicator turns green. This indicates that the payment has been processed. Reporting. Reporting is a powerful feature in the IMOP tool that allows a marketing manager to generate reports for their verticals or unit towards the BRFs raised by them. The reports that a marketing manager can download are: 1. Marketing Manager Perspective. Here, a marketing manager would first need to select financial year and the month. The marketing manager would only be able to download and view the reports for the verticals or unit to which he belongs. Once the report is downloaded, the marketing manager can view the BRF number, activity ID, unit, campaign name, activity name, vendor name, PO number, PO amount in dollars, basis AOP Forex, invoice upload in dollars, basis AOP Forex, pending invoice in dollars, basis AOP Forex, booked in previous financial year, booked till selected month in financial year, committed booking for balanced month in financial year, booking carried forward to next financial year, and BRF raised by. The same report will also be available for a VP to download if the VP belongs to the same vertical as the marketing manager. 2. AOP versus actuals. Here, a marketing manager would first need to select financial year and the month. The marketing manager would be able to download and view the reports for the verticals or unit to which he belongs. Once the report is downloaded, the marketing manager can view the financial year, unit, campaign name, AOP, sum of AOP from April to March of that financial year. There would be an addition of spillover from previous financial year in current financial year mentioned in the report below. AOP split till selected month in that financial year. Here again, there would be an addition of spillover till the selected month in that financial year, as shown below. Sum of amount utilized against the campaign name till the selected month in that financial year. Here, the value will reflect from BRF raised by marketing manager. There would be an addition of spillover from last financial year. Sum of amount against campaign name, committed for balance period in financial year. This will be the value of BRF from selected month plus 1 till the financial year closure. There would be an additional spillover value from last financial year in the sheet below. Percentage AOP achieved till month and percentage AOP utilized in financial year.